If you are weak-hearted, please do not invest in startups. The money is coming back or not. If it comes back, fantastic. If it does not come back, because if the entrepreneur wins, everybody wins in the ecosystem.
Amit, that's a lot of requests to the government.
Yes.
Best of luck with this one though. Hi, my name is Jayakumar Hariharan. I'm an executive coach, speaker and author. Stories That Shift is a series of up-close and intimate conversations with CXOs and practitioners of various disciplines about what makes them tick. Stories are not what we say. Stories are who we are. And I have a very special guest with me on the pod this morning, Amit from Our Ventures Fund. Would that be accurate? All right. Amit, welcome to the show. It's so nice catching up with you. I've seen a couple of your other videos and I've been very curious about the Our Ventures story. So just for the sake of context, could you just break down what is Our Ventures in the business of?
Great. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me on the show. And I've also seen quite a few of your videos and they're pretty amazing.
Thank you so much.
So the admiration is MAC, as we always say, the Mutual Admiration Club. That is how it is. Well, Our Ventures is an investment platform and now also an angel fund. We invest in early stage startups. We are an agnostic platform, which I also say we are opportunists of sorts. If you get a good opportunity, we invest in startups, as simple as that. Started about 10 years ago by two friends of mine. At that point in time, all of us were obviously not married, so I don't want to divulge any naughty stories about the fact that what my two friends were up to. But it was started basically to do personal investments. And then family and friends came along and then they decided to do a democratization of angel investing. In fact, we were the ones we evangelized that you should not have exclusivity. So if you want to
sort of walled garden.
Absolutely. If you don't want to raise only on one platform, don't do that. You can raise on any platform that you wish to and any number of platforms. And that is what exactly is happening today. We have close to about 160 odd investments till date of about 400 crores. And if you see conservative valuation of those startups in today's context, it should be about close to about say 5,000 crores. It's 10
fascinating.
Times. Yeah, that's how it is.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Why the name Our Ventures? Any idea?
Yeah, so the two friends are called Abhijit and Harshad. So there's then obviously now the third A has also been added. So there's no plan of adding another Our Ventures, but we still want to keep it Our Ventures, and that is how the brand has been built, and it has got a nice recall value. And
fantastic.
We are sticking to that.
Great stuff. As an angel investor myself, but I must admit that my knowledge and my involvement in that is not as elaborate as rightfully it should be, considering that it's my money that I've invested. But along with me, there are a lot of people in the leadership space, people who have access to great amount of money, disposable money. Their awareness and knowledge about the angel investment ecosystem is very low. Can you just take us through a little bit about that so that they can make better and more informed choices?
Okay, so one angel investment per se is a fairly new asset class. And I put it as a sub asset class because all of us have been investing in equities and capital markets, etc. anyways. But when angel investing began, say about 10, 12 years ago, people didn't know what is angel investing. Correct. And people did not even understand that why should I invest in a company wherein there is no guarantee of money coming back. And most of the people today also have those comms that we don't want to invest where the return is not fixed per se. And that is what people need to understand, that it is not the small returns of 10-20% which is exciting to an angel investor. And you also have invested in startups. I'm sure your expectation is at least 40-50% IRR compounded annually. Sure. That should come to you. Sure. In about 3-4 years time, you should actually have close to about minimum of 4 to 5x. Yeah. And that is what exciting news about angel investing is, that if you are not able to get that 4 to 5x, then this asset class is not for you. And I would go on record and obviously for saying that this is one of the riskiest so-called asset classes. And if you are weak-hearted, please do not invest in startups. And I tell all my investors, if you're going to call me every other day asking, आज मेरा पैसा कितना हो गया, कितना multiple हो गया, then you are not the people who should be investing in startups. Now, coming to the fact that is it only risky? Is it only adventurous, or there is some method to the madness as well? Well, obviously there is. It is an art and science. It's a game of portfolio that you need to play. Like in the capital markets, if you have 100 rupees, you wouldn't invest everything in one specific stock.
Of course.
You'll go ahead and invest in a lot of stocks,
Sure.
maybe 5 stocks, 10 stocks. So angel investing is also about the same. If you do it in a methodical fashion, if you do it as a structured way of investing, then do not put all the eggs in the same basket. Spread the risk, put in at least 10 to 15 startups, and that is how the game needs to be played. And if you have a corpus which is fixed, say, just giving an example of 25 lakhs or 50 lakhs over a period of 3 years or so, then take 2.5 or 5 lakhs per startup and invest in those startups. Now, there are two kinds of angel investors that we have, so-called. One, people who do not know anything about angel investing.
Sure.
And there are suave, seasoned
Yes.
angel investors in
Yes.
the country. Unfortunately, not a many in this country. People who do not know about this, and especially in tier 2, tier 3 towns, there is a lot of awareness that needs to be built around the entire ecosystem. And I'm very happy that the ecosystem has taken leaps and bounds in that direction. You know, our peers, we ourselves, we go to various cities, whether we go to, say, Nagpur, Nasik, we go to Surat, we go to Aurangabad. These all cities, people have money. They want to invest, and they have bored of investing, say,
in the traditional routes,
traditional asset classes, whether it's the capital markets or even land, real estate, because they want to see something tangible. But if you make them aware, they are ready to take the plunge in a small way. And I'm sure that over the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of people will join the movement of becoming angel investors.
And Amit, with an ace storyteller like you, I'm sure their process will be much more easier. They'll be able to demystify various aspects of it and fully also understand what they're getting into. One of the fundamental things that goes in is, like you said, it's not for the faint-hearted. Your ability to think of this set of money, this allocation as, I'm investing in a dream. It might not come back. This is money that I can live without. Would that be the best process to look at it, or is that overtly cynical?
It is not overtly cynical at all. So as I said, that if you are going to see it as an investment, then I think from a mental perspective, you should not be doing it. You should see it as an expense in a way. So even if you have an allocation of 100 rupees, which is investable, I would say, liquid money available to you for investment, the best part is to invest only 10 to 15 rupees out of that into startups. So you don't have to really then think about the fact that whether the money is coming back or not. If it comes back, fantastic. If it does not come back, your life is not going to stop. And your kids' education is not going to stop. Your holidays are not going to stop. So that's the reason we always tell people to only allocate 10 to 15% of investable money every year into startups. That's very true.
So that you can answer my second question. Out of a portfolio, if you have 10 rupees, you're saying about 15% is what would be an ideal mix towards angel investing.
Absolutely.
Right? Yes. Amazing. And I think that's a realistic ask. Yeah. It's not overtly ambitious. Aadha paisa de do mujhe types. Right? Very nice. Very nice. Talk about your journey with our ventures. Yeah. That seems like an interesting pivot.
So as I said, that these two friends were there and they were doing angel investing and they were running our ventures as a platform. But the story is not about the fact that I know these guys and I wanted to get into something like this. So in 2014-15, I became a part of the startup ecosystem, part of the founding team of a B2B startup. And I was the CFO there and we raised a good amount of money. We raised close to about $30 million.
Wow.
And we were way ahead of time, unfortunately. And so the burn was also very fast. So by 2017, I typically figured out that yes, I will have to now jump the ship. But during that time, I met a lot of VCs. I met a lot of investors, which intrigued me a lot. I was very attracted to the entire VC space. Is that VCs can build not one, but multiple businesses. And that is what the fuel is required for entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And I thought that I can be good at raising funds for people, even deploying, because of my educational qualification, it became much easier. I understood business. I was into management consulting. I understood numbers because I am a CA. So I thought, let's just take the plunge. But taking a plunge suddenly is not so easy because the other side of the table, you go, then things are going to be very different. So you have to learn the tricks of the trade. I met my friends and said that I want to start a fund of my own. I said, we've never honestly thought about a fund per se, but we run a network. I said, normal progression is obviously that you have to become a fund. And last year we became an angel fund, and now we are also aspiring to be a VC fund in the next 12 to 18 months. So that's my journey. It's been a fabulous journey of sorts. Apart from the fact that we invested a lot of money through the investors into startups. I also have a lot of investments now. Numbers can be about 26 investments in startups. In about 2 years' time, which I think the run rate is not so bad.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And going by this, I think if at the end of say 3-4 more years, I have close to 70, 80, 100 investments, I think a good portfolio has been built, and my daughter will be happy finally.
I think that's such a organic segue into the way you came about into our ventures, and what's the exciting stuff now. What has the last 6 months been like? What are you most proud of? What are the wins you'd like to celebrate?
In terms of the wins in angel investing, the win is only one when the investors get an exit. When you make money, say making somebody invest money. Now I'm sitting with you today and you say that you're a good storyteller and people start investing with you. No, that's not the main prerogative. The prerogative should be that we have to make people get an exit.
Lovely.
That is what the whole idea is. The proof of the pudding is people making money, and that's the only time they will come back to you, invest in your fund, in the next fund, and the next fund. Because as a fund manager, I don't want to stop at a single fund. It does not make sense at all.
Sure.
Right? So make people invest, hold their hands, or as we say, do the hand holding, and ensure that they get the requisite exits. And we have done 16 exits till now. And some of them have got stellar exits.
Beautiful.
As well.
Any that you would like to talk about on public record?
Yeah, I mean, Keto is one startup that people invested about 6 years ago, and they've made a massive, in excess of 50x. I can.
Wow.
So, and some of them have been 12x, 15x as well. People have done that. But the average IRR, I would say, has or the range of IRR is about between 30 and 90%, which is exactly what global angel investing standards are.
Amazing. I'm not going to push you around on the watermelons and which did fire and whatever, because the minute the narrative becomes that, it becomes a little dispiriting. It's good to take a good hard look at the mirror, but also celebrate success.
But I will just tell you that we are also proud of the busts. I am being as honest as I can be.
Love it.
So we have about close to 140 odd startup investments, and only 16 companies have gone bust. So I am mighty proud of our curation process.
Beautiful.
So it's not a platform, it's a curated platform. So we have a 4-level strong curation process, which every startup has to go through. And once they go through that process, then obviously you will have more winners and the bust. So that is what we generally
Amazing. What I really loved about the fact is that you said, earlier days, at least now the frenzy is coming down, funding media frenzy. Oh, funding happened, this much happened, that much. The celebration of funding was disproportionately high when compared to, are they going IPO? Are they seeing success? It's so refreshing to hear you say that raising money is not a problem. Securing angel investment is not a problem. Making sure and handholding them and seeing that they exit with this much of return, that's a happier moment for you. And I think that says volumes about your growth philosophy as well, yourself as a leader and our ventures. Amazing, yeah. What would you typically say is the moat that you've built around, in VC language, around the Our Ventures brand or experience? Because there are other angel aggregators, there are other funds available.
Yeah.
Why should I meet with you and engage with you?
So one, there are various other angel platforms,
Yes.
various other angel funds.
Yeah.
And the best part is we are not competitors at all. We're all collaborators. We all co-invest together.
Beautiful.
So that's the best part. So if one investor is investing through us or investing through other platforms, more than welcome to do that. One investor can be on various platforms.
Of course.
Because there's a possibility there are some deals that we have and there are certain deals that the other platforms will also have. So, I will also tell that more the merrier. So we want to collaborate with more and more people, and so that we can make this ecosystem a much stronger ecosystem. Now coming to the moat, well, I would say that the curation process for the investors is very important because, as I say, it's not a marketplace. That if you have a startup, you come and just list your startup and then people can see it and people will start investing. No. So the 4-level curation process is very, very important, which helps you define who is going to win and who may not win. But some may win more, some may win less. And for the startups, I think it's very important. They're not just looking for money.
Yeah.
They're looking for a lot more things. They're looking for mentoring. They're looking for advising. They're looking for opening doors for you, making the right connections. And more importantly, also getting the right set of people as investors. It's not that anybody walking on the road can say, I want to become an investor, and say, okay, go ahead, start investing. Anyways, I don't really care whether the startup works or not. No, that's not the whole idea. So we have built our ventures around the main ethos of entrepreneur first. The reason is because if the entrepreneur wins, everybody wins in the ecosystem. So if I had to choose between the two, I would say that I will also request my investors to keep always helping and supporting the entrepreneur, because if he's going to fail, your money is going to go down the drain. Obviously, I have also invested, so my money also, does not see the light of the day, or I don't see any returns. So let's support the entrepreneurs and everything else will fall in place. So that is where we have built our ventures. And the last part which I would like to tell you is we do not poke our noses into the daily operations of startups. When I talk about mentoring, advising, it is purely management by exception. If they want our help, we are a phone call away. They can call us and we will help them with whatever resources or ideas that they want to work on.
I think that's gracious. Sometimes tough conversations need to be had. Sometimes, there's a lot of, actually I'm segueing, but I think it's an interesting segue, is creative bookkeeping practices in the country, right? Thanks to one particular part of the ecosystem, it could be EdTech. That's come under the lens. That's come under purview, auditors being fired, new auditors being brought on board. Have you had a situation where you had to level up or have the straight up conversation with a startup saying that, no, it's all not kosher. It's not all, what we see above the surface. Please lift the bonnet and let's have those tough conversations.
Yeah, obviously, because that only happens when somebody is kind of struggling. When everything is fine, I always say that the kind of agreements that you sign with your investors, the shareholders agreements, the share subscription agreements, they are all good in the closet, right? Those agreements will start coming out when there is a problem of sorts. So I think they need to understand, all founders, that whether it is bookkeeping, forget about the creative part of it, it has to be done properly. The governance has to be top notch. The compliances have to be up to date and always good. So those are the things that they need to see. But unfortunately, people are not really understanding at this point in time. When it comes to our portfolio companies, till now, we have not faced any of those challenges. The only tough conversations would be around the fact that business is not doing well. What do you need to really do for ensuring that the business now grows? And that's the time we then act like headmasters, to be honest with you. When we are mentoring those startups. And the best part is that portfolio founders do not feel bad about it. They are coachable. And that is also a part of our curation process. We don't like really founders who are going to be, sorry to say, arrogant, or they come across very brash. So we really don't take them on board for our funding process as well. So we ensure that happens. But whenever you have to have a tough conversation, you should have a tough conversation, because like you said, everybody is wired differently. They may do different things, but things are not rosy all the time. And there'll be always ups and downs in businesses. But extending runways in terms of funding is very, very critical. Especially in today's scenario for growth-oriented startups. We know that the funding winter is on, so-called. But luckily for us, the funding winter is not on, because we are in early stage investing, and this is actually the right time to invest into startups.
Nice way to reframe that perspective, Amit. All right, just bringing, we can talk about the ecosystem for a very long time. Yes. I'll just, your sense of the factors that govern your domain. What are all the various factors that are either impeding your growth or accelerating your growth at this point?
So, accelerating is simple. India is a country full of entrepreneurs. Everybody wants to become an entrepreneur. And now a couple of TV shows have also come into India, which have also corroborated the fact that...
And that's definitely caught on to the popular romance, in that sense.
And dinner time conversations, people sitting 8 to 80 discussing about valuations. I remember watching Shark Tank US with my daughter, and we were watching it together. And my daughter then says that, Papa, ye deal nahi hogi. So I said, why this deal won't happen? So this deal won't happen because this founder has an attitude issue. He's throwing attitude at the sharks. The deal will not happen. And then the next deal started, and I got a phone call. So I said that just hang around and let me know if the deal has happened or not, and at what valuation. And the deal happened. I was still on my phone call, and she comes and tells me, well, the deal happened and they diluted about 15%. So I said, fabulous, the blood is working well.
Oh, geez.
So India is a country full of entrepreneurs, and they'll keep on growing. So I don't think so. That is something that we need to really worry about. Now, factors which are so-called impeding the growth or stopping the growth per se, I would say not stopping or slowing down is the right word in this case. One is, as I said, lack of awareness amongst the investor community. Angel investment still not has got that rock solid support from the investors in terms of say, oh, this is the asset class, or even the wealth managers. Few of them have started suggesting to their clients that this should be a new way of investing, but it needs more awareness. So we need people like you and me more, who are evangelists of the startup ecosystem, talking about it more. The other thing is, I think from the regulatory perspective also, quite a few things need to be done. And one of the things that, all of us have been requesting the government to do is to look at the taxation part when it comes to the exits. So today, if you have to make an exit, you have to pay capital gains in excess of 20%. So 20% being the base, surcharge, etc. You need to pay capital gains at that. But for listed securities, the capital gains is 10%. So we are saying that why not bring the unlisted securities capital gains also at par. So there has to be parity between the two, which also will really help. Having said that, when we say that the government is also supporting a lot in terms of SOP, schemes, subsidies, etc., they're all there. They are also not so difficult to get when it comes to the approvals. But it takes forever for the money to hit the bank. And in some cases, it is taking as long as 6 to 9 months. Now, the startup which is depending on certain money to come in to run their operations, and if it does not come in on time, then we obviously have a problem of sorts. So I think these are some of the factors which are actually slowing down the growth. And if the government works on it, more than happy. Thank you very much. And obviously the investor community and to budding angel investors, come ahead, invest in startups. I think that is where you can also make a lot of money.
Awesome. So is your thinking that the regulatory interpretation on tax is because of, keeping the SOPs in mind, or is it because why is there a distinction? Why is there a difference of this?
I think the only thing is because the kind of regulation you can play around on listed securities versus unlisted securities is different. The compliances are different. The reporting mechanisms are different. The risks involved are different. And that is the reason. So if it's a high risk, high reward game, why not pay more tax? So everybody has to win in the ecosystem, and government is a very big player in the ecosystem.
I was thinking the high risk will put them off for some time. And if you don't foster risk, if you don't foster innovation in the right spaces at least, then that will die a natural death. See, look, as it is, there's a lot of apprehension about, I don't think it's as much an awareness issue as much as it is bridging the gap between awareness and action. Awareness, mujhe pata hai, aisa hai, there is a decent thing. Action is cutting a check, reaching out to an aggregator like you, having a chat with you, cutting a check, depositing that money. Now that's action, right? Now the gap between intent and action is still, it's a long road that one has to go.
True.
And I think somewhere along that, I don't know what should be set right in the ecosystem, or, how much more is it an awareness problem?
It is an awareness issue, but this intent issue is not so much, to be honest. But once you get excited about it, you will go and invest. because it is very addictive, trust me. So only thing that we need to take care is that once people are ready to invest, then they should become habitual and they build a portfolio. So it should not be a one-off. So, I can tell you, I have a lot of people on LinkedIn and they write angel investor. And if they ever talk to them, how many angel investments have you made? 1, 2. I said, sir, you're not an angel investor as of now.
Got it.
Angel investor is a person who has a specific corpus kept at the side to be invested annually into startups is an angel investor. And I think the other thing that also is there, which is making people not invest in startups, is the liquidity part. Today, I cannot sell my startup investments to anybody and liquidate the investment. So that also needs to be taken care of from a regulatory perspective. Again,
can you explain that a little more?
So if you have invested in a startup,
yes,
and you can only get an exit in 3 ways. Okay. Number 1 is when a new investor comes in and he or she buys your shares. That is 1. Second, if there is an IPO, there is an exit. Third, if there is a buyback. So if neither of these 3 things are happening, then you cannot liquidate your investment.
Of course.
Then you are obviously stuck. No, but in case of listed securities,
it's not Trishaku Swarga, it's just Trishaku, I guess.
Yeah. So in the capital markets, you can sell the securities on the stock exchange. You can trade them on the stock exchange. So one of the other humble requests that we can make to the government is that let us have an exchange for secondary investment sale purchase also, which is unlisted securities. And that will be fantastic. That will be fantastic.
Amit, that's a lot of requests to the government.
Yes.
Best of luck with this one, though.
No, but I'm sure
this is very wistful thinking.
Yeah, but with your podcast and the reach it will have, and it has, I'm sure that somebody sitting there will hear us, and if not 3, but at least one of the 3 requests can be taken.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful. Segueing now into a little bit about your journey, Amit. What has gone into the dish that has made you? What are the various ingredients that has made you the person you are today?
I think to start off, upbringing, I think we've had a very, very liberal upbringing at home. My dad is an IITian, but he has never told me to go into an IIT.
Nice.
Which itself was very encouraging, trust me. From standard 9, I wanted to become a CA, and that's how it all began. The joke in our house is, whenever guests used to come to our house, my dad would be having a conversation with them, and they will ask, आपकी daughter कौन सी class में है? And he will turn back and ask my mother, कौन सी class में है? So you can imagine the kind of freedom that we've got. And I think if you have that freedom right from the beginning, it's fantastic. And the other thing, I got a car when I was 18 years old. I asked for a bike. He gave me a car. Thanks, Dad. Every person in the world should have a dad like that. And he said that कभी भी गाड़ी बंद पड़ती है, साइड में लगा दो गाड़ी और वापस आ जाओ. Don't struggle. There is enough help that will be available. Don't get tensed about it. So I think the upbringing played an important part. And then my management consulting days, I think, played an integral part till now.
Amazing.
Because I worked with a lot of industries, worked with a lot of leaders at a very young age.
Nice.
So I started my management consulting journey at the age of 21. And since then, till I was about 36, 37, I had my management consulting firm of my own. And I worked with the top companies of India, with the top leaders, with their CFOs, CEOs, etc. That really helps you gain not only just knowledge, but also the fact that how do they handle situations. And we used to go to them with difficult situations.
Sure.
And since we were also doing risk management and audit of sorts, so very uncomfortable questions used to be asked to them. But the way they handled it and tackled it was phenomenal. I think that really helps. And third, I think meeting people, talking to them also helps you a lot. And the communication is the essence of every leader. And if a leader is not a good communicator, I'm sorry that they can only reach a specific level. So I think communicating, talking, interacting with people, traveling the world also helps you shape up the kind of person you are. I love talking, and again, thank you for this lovely podcast, man. I'm absolutely thoroughly enjoying it.
No, I think the feeling is mutual. Definitely the energy that you send across, the intellectual heft that you have around your domain expertise, and the lightness of being that you carry are like amazing ingredients in a leader. Is leadership or leadership content still relevant in today's time? Or is it a pejorative term like gyan?
Not at all. I think, please understand, I'm not going to be talking about humans, but animals per se. Till the time we are going to be having living beings on this planet, leadership is here to stay. And humans have learned leadership from animals. So you know the concept of alpha, right? So whenever there is a prey that is killed and the food has to be taken, then the alpha eats first. So there is the hierarchy set from that time. So if it's a pack of wolves or a pride of lions, the alpha eats first. So definitely the essence of leadership is going to be there. There are some people who will always want to follow someone. And till the time that remains, leadership is not going to go anywhere. Coming to the fact that how leadership has evolved, where the various elements of leadership are going to change in a big fashion.
Amazing.
Like artificial intelligence is one of the latest things that is there, and there it is threatening jobs across the world. Last evening my sister was asking, सब AI आ गया, इससे कितनी jobs जाएंगी? I said, wow, like she's asking me something as if I'm a चलता फिरता encyclopedia of sorts, saying कितनी जाएंगी तू बताएगा उतनी जाएंगी. But that's not how it was. So I told maybe a few millions for sure, because there are certain jobs will go. So leaders have to now work with those kind of people. They have to work with the emotion or the emotional quotient of those people to pacify them, that how these jobs are, or artificial intelligence are not going to hamper these jobs, or how these jobs will need to be undertaken is going to be very, very important. So the message has to go from the leader. Or some people are going to be losing their jobs and they really lose it in the head, and then they can run like headless chickens, don't know what to do. And then the entire space of mental well-being and mental health is also now coming into play because of this kind of news that is floating around. So yes, leadership is going to be there, but the way leaders will have to work with people is going to change.
Nice. So definitely, growing on the journey of becoming a better leader is an everyday, day-to-day kind of a process. In your conversation with so many leaders, right? So there are various ways to learn something, right? You can either go to a Gurukul. I mean, traditionally I'm saying go sit somewhere, finish it. Now you have, you go to Harvard, couple of weeks and whatever. So various ways. And some people also believe that I will learn by doing. No? Life is happening all around me. I'm working at my job. Each day I'll get better at my job. Each day I'll get better organically. So they somehow tend not to have the curiosity to engage either in meaningful content. It could be podcasts, it could be books, it could be interesting conversations with senior level people about leadership behavior. What would your advice be to them?
One, they have to come out of the comfort zone. Not that I will say and they'll come out of the comfort zone.
Sure.
But there has to be a self-actualization. They need to really figure out that, is their job so mundane? Are they getting bored? Have they become a boring person according to their friends and family? If that is the case, then it's a warning sign that you need to come out of your comfort zone. Although you may be fantastic at your work, you'll be fabulous, you're successful, but is that making you a complete human being? Are you a holistic leader of sorts? Who also not just is good at his job, but also good with his family, good with his friends? Is he going, as I said, that what I do personally to de-stress or to unwind is every week go out with friends, family, and have a couple of beers, enjoy myself, because I know that is how the next 5 days are going to look like. So it's better that we do that. And keep on talking to people, keep on engaging with people, which is very important, because you don't stop at a certain place. But I don't think so leaders of today are like that. They are mindful of the fact that they need to also keep on, I would say, lubricating their minds all the time. And but if somebody is not doing that, it's better. It's high time they should be doing that.
I love that term, lubricating their minds. I think that's very, very important. What can leaders from other businesses learn from a leader in the angel fund business? So I'll tell you, for a little bit of context, I'll kind of give you a background. Whenever I talk to, I coach leaders from various domains, and sometimes I'm met with like, oh, have you worked in the oil and gas? Have you coached somebody in the oil and gas? I've said, no. What makes your industry so different from a leadership behavioral perspective? And to a large extent, they agree that it's not earth-shatteringly different, but there are some nuances. For example, if I'm coaching the CEO of an advertising agency versus I'm coaching somebody at Boston Consulting, so the leadership behavior that acts upon in their ecosystem might be a little different. So in that sense, I want to expose a lot of leaders through my podcast to various other disciplines. Oh, all right, I'm a leader in the banking industry. This is how I learn from a leader in, let's say, climate tech. So in that sense of the way, what sets leadership in your domain a little different, and what can they learn from it?
Great. I think first there are various aspects or facets which will be common.
Sure.
But I think there are 2 or 3 of them which I think is a little different in our industry. Number one is the risk-taking ability. I think the ability to take risk is massive. And trust me, the risk is not just about the fact that you're taking somebody's money, investing and not giving it back. The risk is if you do that and if you fail, your career is over. So as a fund manager or somebody who's helping investments, if I take money, invest and not return the money to anybody, then my career is over. That big risk I'm taking. So the risk-taking ability is definitely there.
Gotcha.
So I believe very strongly, in the proverb of no guts, no glory, no legend, no story. As simple as that. So leaders have to take risks, and the risk can be internal to the organization or external to the organization. It does not really matter. The second, what people in the VC industry obviously are doing is they are great executors, or I would say they are agile executors. Execution may be great in other industries also, but they take quick decisions, which means that procrastination is lesser and decision making is faster. Execution therefore is also faster. And that is what leaders will have to do. In today's scenario, the world is changing so fast. It is at a pace which nobody can even think of. And when you work with the younger generation, I wouldn't say even millennials or Gen Z. Yeah. Now there's Gen Alpha coming in, which is completely mind-boggling. I don't know what's going to happen, but when you work with them, really understand that their way of thinking is not just fast, but also it's very effective. So leaders will have to start working with a lot of younger people also, and ensure that yes, we can do things in a much faster fashion. I think these are 2 very important elements that I've seen with the VC industry. It's agile thinking, agile execution, and the risk-taking ability is fabulous.
I think that's truly a recipe for great success in your domain. And increasingly, I'd like to think that most other industries also have to adapt in a similar manner. Yes. Because change is happening not just in one industry, it's happening across the ecosystem. It could be AI on one end, it could be climate change on the other end, it could be change in cultural norms at the other end. So leadership of the 90s is no longer relevant today. So I keep saying, from a Jack Welchian perspective, he did an amazing job at that time. He propounded a way of working with people, which if it was to be employed now, would definitely not be welcome. It's just like wisdom, right? I mean, we're a function of the time in society that we are in. So we'll have to adapt and shape-shift accordingly. And I think leadership is no different.
True.
Thank you for sharing some good practices that somebody else can borrow from your industry. I don't think you might have seen this challenge happening with your startups, considering they'll all be young and full of energy and whatever. But have you had conversations with people who are senior level, who kind of been there, done that, they've seen the painting on the wall kind of a thing, and their hunger for growth comes down? They want to play safe. They want to not upset the status quo. Any advice for you for people in that mind frame, either physically, mentally, hierarchically? Any words of advice?
So we've seen very recently, I was talking about working with millennials. I think they have to have a mindset change. The attitudes will have to change towards how a leader is supposed to behave and get things executed from other people. It's very different now than what 15, 20 years ago. So that mindset or the mind shift has to happen. That is very, very clear. The second thing is, I think they have to be innovative now. So if you don't innovate, not only in, I'm talking about products or services, sure. I'm only even talking innovation in the mind. So you have to innovate and you have to think outside the box. If as a leader, you are not able to do that in today's world, then it is very difficult. So adaptability to technology is something which a lot of leaders had not even thought about even 5 years ago. I'm telling you. But now, with so much of awareness around artificial intelligence, machine learning, it is better that they start thinking about it if they have not thought. And if they have not even started thinking about it, then I think all their positions are going to be in danger. I'm really sorry about that.
No, it was a wake-up moment. I was attending an international coaches conference about 6 years ago. And I was thinking that, look, coaching is going to be the last bastion where AI is going to take over. It's a very human process and stuff like that. And I was like generally feeling like, oh, wow, how cool is it to be the last this thing. And a master coach, I think David Peterson, he gave a talk and he just broke that model into a million little bits.
Yeah.
He's saying, what makes you think you're going to be the last word? Right? So then he also said the future looks like this. It could be hybrid. So there could be something like a cobot in the room. So all the transactional stuff and the note taking and the getting back on accountability and stuff like that can be done that.
Yeah.
But the deep level conversation will still need to be done by coach and the coachee. So I thought that was a very interesting hybrid model of how even executive coaching one-on-one will have to undergo a shift in the way it's being served out in the world.
Yeah,
that's amazing. True. Amazing. So in this age of a deep assault on deep work, and we've all been victims of it, what are your go-to hacks that you would like to pass on to the audience?
In terms of go-to hacks, I think I have a simple process.
Excellent.
One, I check my emails only twice a day. That's what I do. There is no point in sitting on the computer and तो email आने वाला है अभी. अभी आएगा. नहीं ऐसा, it's not possible. Because you cannot be expecting that somebody will just send you an email. The entire world wants to send you an email only. So check emails twice a day, and that is what I have done in the last 1 year, and it has really helped me a lot.
Amazing.
And the second thing, which is as traditional, conventional, old school it can be.
Doesn't matter.
Make a task list and follow it to the T. That's it. I think these are the only two things that can really help you manage your time and ensure that you're getting things done. I think the two things that I do.
The first one is fascinating. How did you land on that? Considering that somebody in your domain would need information yesterday or would need closure yesterday, it's very nice to see you hermetically seal off these two capsules in a day and saying, hey, listen, I need my rest of the time for doing strategic deep work.
Yeah.
This is the time I'll come and engage. I'll check and I'll reply and whatever. I'll finish it off.
So email is not chat. Let's start with that, right? So if somebody wants to send me something or to discuss,
analogy. Yes.
They can send me on WhatsApp. More than happy to do that. Or last, it's not that I am one of the most unreachable fellows in the entire world.
Gotcha.
Just pick up the phone and call me and I'll happily speak to you. Especially when it is my portfolio company founders or even investors, more than happy they can call me. I may not answer immediately,
sure,
but I will definitely return your call. That's one of the other things which I also call is part of etiquette, is to return the call.
Yes.
And that is what I do pretty diligently. So I decided emails only twice a day. The reason is because if the world is burning somewhere, they will send me a message and then they'll call me.
Excellent. Any other protocols that you have in terms of personal productivity? Either working out or mental agility, fitness or whatever. Just take us through that journey.
I was waiting for that question, let me tell you. Because people will be amazed with the fact that you can actually manage your day and enjoy each day that you have for yourself and still be successful. You may not be hyper successful, but success itself is so subjective.
It is.
It really depends. Is success having a yacht, a plane and a penthouse? For me, absolutely no. It's not success. It's not that. Success having 100 crores in the bank? Well, not so bad. Happy to do that. But is success not getting time at all for yourself and your family? No, I then don't want that success.
Got it.
And it may sound a little philosophical, but we are finally human beings and we need emotions. We need emotional support. We need love. And that's what we need. So my day is very simple. And I start off at about 7:15, 7:30. I wake up. And because that's the time I have to wake my daughter up to drop her to the bus stop. And that period is one of the most stressful period, but also the happiest period that I have. Because I get that 45 minutes with her and we chit chat and tell her stories. And then I drop her to the bus stop. And dropping off at the bus stop is not the only thing. Then the bus goes ahead and takes a U-turn and comes. I then cross the road to ensure that I wave to her again.
Oh my
and the bus
God.
passes by.
Dad of the Year award goes to...
But it is so amazing because she also waits for the same. It's not just me I'm waiting. And then I go back, I'll freshen up, take a bath, read the newspaper. And 9:30 is breakfast time. And 5 on 7 days, I have breakfast with my parents. That's also very important to me because they look forward to the fact that all of us are having breakfast together.
Amit, you're going to give a lot of sons and fathers some reprimanding lessons when their wives listen to this. Amazing.
The best part is my dad is the one whom I started drinking beer with also. So that's also one thing. So I start my work day at about 10. And then there's lunch break. I have very less lunch because I have a very heavy breakfast. So that's again from a health perspective.
Sure.
Because you're generally sitting and not really moving a lot.
Gotcha.
So then you have a very light meal. Maybe you'll have veggies, etc., and not have carbs. Then in the afternoon again 3:30, 3:45. If I'm at home, she comes back. I'll go and pick her up from the bus stop because it's not that she cannot come back. She's 12. She can, but she waits for me to come and pick her up. So I go and pick her up and then again I start working at about 4 o'clock. I wind my day about 6:30 and by the time, if I'm lucky, my wife is back from work. Then we go out for a chai or maybe for a walk because now it's raining so we don't really get that opportunity. And come back around 8:30, spending about a couple of hours with her. Sometimes doing nothing, honestly.
Sure.
And there's a joke that my daughter cracks, which is something that you should know. She said that my second home is Roblox. That's the game she plays.
Yeah.
And my friend's second home is a restaurant that they go to. And for my parents, the second home is the nearby market. That's where they go for a date. So we do that almost every single day. Just go there, hang around, come back by 8:30. Then all of us generally have dinner. And then, watch a web series with my wife. And then my daughter and wife go off to bed very early, but I'm a staunch Punjabi, so I cannot sleep at 10:30. I sleep at about 12 o'clock, but I get good 7.5 hours of sleep also.
Amazing.
That's one point also that people should take care of.
Yeah.
The other thing which has really increased my productivity, and if you can actually do that, if you are traveling, never take an early morning flight. Never. And obviously that really depends upon who you are and how much money you have.
Sure.
So you should always go to the destination an evening prior.
The day before, yeah.
And once you do that, you can relax, have a nice time. You can meet people also. And next day when you wake up, you're fresh as a daisy and you can go and have your meetings in the most productive fashion.
Amazing. Amit, that's a very, very charmed life. When your daughter listens to this podcast, she knows that she has her daddy wrapped around her little finger. But amazing. It was so nice to catch up with you, Amit. Really insightful and warm. I'm happy to have met somebody like you, and I look forward to circling back to you on the next season.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and let's do it more often. More than happy to do that.
Hey, it was like very, very organic. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is mine.